All right, so just to kind of catch everyone up that is rewatching this, I crashed, so I had to restart this. But Leonardo just kind of walked us through some of his artwork he did back in 1702. So he wants to be environment modeler, hard surface prop type models. He hasn't done much work since 1702, and we're just kind of getting into the direction that he kind of wants to go. So that's what we're going to start kind of talking about again. So just kind of where he's at. He's a campus student. He's taking two classes at a time, so he does have a little bit more kind of packed workload. Um, okay. Um, is it showing my screen or no? It's not. Do this again. There we go. So what's like one of the companies that you would possibly want to work for? Okay. Is there a certain title you want to work on in for Ubisoft? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, I mean, one thing I always talk to students about is if you're going for games, like there's a lot less kind of hidden things or mystique with games. Most companies openly share their workflows these days in some way, shape, or form. In fact, I was just chatting with another student through Facebook about, he was trying to understand a certain pipeline better, and I just sent him a link to a Twitch channel of a company. I'm like, right here, they tell you pretty much their whole pipeline. If you're willing to watch their Twitch channel or their back feed and kind of go through it. So right here, quick search Assassin's Creed environment models, and you can start seeing exactly what they're using. So in your classes yet, have you talked about um, how to kind of break down a scene into reusable parts? Okay, okay, perfect. So you're already kind of familiar with that workflow. So one of the kind of cool things to look for is a lot of companies do these art dumps these days, and if they're showing their art off to the public in a certain way, you can kind of rely on that's what they want to see when you're showing them your artwork. So it'll show quality. Like here we can even get down to, I mean, this is a pretty big image. Let's go ahead and look at it. We can even get down to they're showing you exactly what their wireframes look like, right? They don't have any detailed sculpts in here, so I'm not overly familiar. And this is back in 2013. If they were doing any sculpting in ZBrush, my guess is these days they're using some Substance designer and painter to help generate their high frequency details. Um, so that's something that you could look at as well. Um, so I would say if you're trying to target, you know, Ubisoft and specifically towards the Assassin's Creed franchise, definitely taking a look at all of the information that they're kind of sharing with you here. Um, I'm not sure if that one's exactly from Assassin's Creed or not. Here's an in-game building. They're showing you the wireframe for. Um, and then we could even go and like visit this page, and they might have more of a walkthrough here of how they did it. This might just be remastering. So I think the first thing that I kind of want to do as far as planning this stuff with you is giving you a couple different assignments. Um, First, I would say, just in what we talked before we crashed, I'm thinking that maybe you could get a little bit better with time management. Because if you're not working on anything outside of class, then there has to be, some sort of time management issue there. So I'd really like for you, say that again? Okay. So time management, like until you get that under control, you can't do anything. Um, so I think that's the first thing we need to tackle. And for that assignment, I'd like you to kind of just sit down and open up iCalendar or Google Calendar, whatever you would prefer to use, and lay out the must-dos in there. So classes, right? If you know you spend a certain time on homework, put that in there, but be honest with it. Like if you normally don't do any homework outside of lab, then don't put it on there. So this might expose some some flaws, possibly that you're not okay with showing, but we're not going to fix things unless you're kind of open with that stuff. If you do homework, that's great. Put it in there. So if you do an hour a night, you do 2 hours a night, that's fine. Put it in there. Um, if you have any sort of obligations that you have to meet on a weekly basis, that you have to be at a certain place, then you can put that stuff in there. Um, so those are the types of things that we want to kind of get organized at first. Once we have that organized, we can start seeing where we can start filling in time for additional work. Um, the other thing that I want you to think about this week is sometimes when we're bad with time management, we have other habits, that are keeping us from it. So, like, what do you usually do with your spare time? Are you a gamer? Do you watch a lot of films? Do you spend a lot of time on YouTube or Facebook or any of those social platforms? Okay. Okay. So when you say quite a lot, um, I mean, if let's walk through a standard day, like yesterday. Did you have class yesterday? Okay. So what did you play games yesterday? Oh, cool. Okay. Well, let's cover more of a standard day then. If yesterday, if your family wasn't in town and you just had yesterday to yourself, what would that day have looked like? Okay. Okay. So you said the afternoon. Like how if you had the day open yesterday, and it was a normal free day, how much time would you have spent playing video games? Okay. So like 5, 6 hours playing games. So even like cutting that in half, is I mean that would be a huge gain if you could cut that in half every day. If you just have an online class right now, I'm assuming it's probably not taking up much of your time. Is that correct? Oh, okay. And this is a common problem that I find with a lot of students out there, and it's more you don't have a plan right now, so you don't know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, we go towards the things that make us feel good because one, it occupies our time. Two, it makes us feel good, and we don't like to feel bad. So if over the course of this month, if we can come up with projects or teach you how to come up with projects on your own that push you towards getting a job at these studios, that's going to be a tremendous help for you. So I think since we just talked through this portion, we kind of got to the root. I sort of knew it looking at your work and that you haven't done anything since 1702. I think really we need to plan out your calendar and we need to start coming up with some projects that you can work on that's going to show these companies that you can work at their studios. So for next week, and hopefully you got something you can take notes with here. But for next week, we'll meet up again Thursday at this time, and so you'll have your calendar laid out. I want you to find me examples of what I'm showing you right here, but try to find more current ones. Okay, so try to find like 2016 or 2017 examples of Ubisoft work at the specific studio that works on Assassin's Creed or whatever studio you'd like to go to because they have more than one. Um, and I want you to find examples of wireframe, how they break down their environments. I would like you to try to find examples of UV maps that they generate. And if you can find any articles on their pipeline, like are they using Substance? Are they using ZBrush? Do they give you poly counts? Do they give you texture sizes? These are all things that you've learned in class, and they're going to be specific to a company's pipeline. So when you want to go there and apply, if you can show work on your demo reel that aligns with that pipeline, it's going to help you to get hired. If they see art on your demo reel and it looks like it aligns with their pipeline, the next thing would be is they'll have an interview with you. And that's where reading articles about them come into play, because if you're up on their latest pipelines and you're up on what they're projecting their image to be in these articles, when you get into a interview with them, right, you can talk about these things and you sound more intelligent and you sound like you can fit in at that company. So these are the first few things that I want you to work on before next week. And then what we'll do is, because I don't know that, I don't know with where you're at that we need to research a lot of other companies. I think your portfolio and kind of your understanding of how you need to portray yourself to the industry is what we really need to work on this month. So in past months, like with Giovanni, he was already a graduate, so we worked on targeting companies, and he already kind of had his art at a level and the knowledge there that he could push himself once we targeted those companies and started talking about that. With you, I think we need to get you on track to a system where you're working every day, kind of like going to the gym. You need to work out your art as well. And we need to get you focused. Like if you go to the gym, usually you downloaded some sort of workout plan, that you're following. Like every day you're doing this so, your biceps get bigger or whatnot. So we need to kind of help you to be able to generate those plans for yourself so that you're working out every day to build your art to a level that these companies will hire you. So that's going to be our goal for this month, is just to kind of get you back on track artistically. That if we can hit that goal, I think you'll be fine in your further classes when you actually start like writing your resume and start sending out your portfolio and resume to potential employers. So, did you have any additional questions for me? Okay. Okay. Yeah. If you have a question throughout the week, feel free to email me. I'll double check my schedule at the beginning of next week, but we'll try to keep it pretty consistent with Thursday at 10 a.m. for meeting up. So we'll kind of tentatively plan on that for next week, but if something comes up for me in the beginning of the week, I'll talk to you and we can reschedule it. So cool. All right. Well, enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you next week. All right. Bye.